S- 78.6 FM, Yomatan. This is Positive Vibes with a Winsome. Welcome back, everybody. So this week was a great week. We had an opportunity to do some cool things at the day job, week job during the week. This we had Johnny Kim, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim, was on the air this week to talk to us. And forgive me if I'm thrown off a little bit because I have a loaner phone, as you can see, and there's no jack for me to plug in the music that I wanted to play for you guys today. But it's cool because I'm gonna keep going. You know, that's what we do. Um, Johnny Kim came and we were talking about growth mindsets and how to do things differently. With the new time, with the new 2020 events, the things that we've had to adapt to, and he gave us some wonderful nuggets, man, on just being a good person. Just being a good human being, and what he had to do to be where he's at, not only as someone who at the age of 36 lived three different professions, three different lives as a Navy SEAL, a doctor, and also now as an astronaut, but just in general, being able to endure and overcome, things that have happened in his life. So Johnny Kim, man, it was amazing having 30 minutes with him. We had folks logged in, dialed in, people had sent in questions, so we had a really good time with him. So I'm gonna shift gears. That was this week. We had also during the daytime playing war games, of course, like we always do around these parts. All jokes aside, we had some real cool things happening this week, real busy. But I literally, truly am blessed and happy to be here, man. It's been a long week. I'm not going to lie about that. But I'm about to shift, and I'm going to tell you why we're here today, man. Positive vibes today, man. I want to talk to you guys about being down, but not out. And I'm gonna say that again, man. Being down but not out. And this message today, in case he isn't logged in, I'm gonna send this to him after. But this is dedicated to one of my teammates, a young gentleman who went through some things this weekend. And I'm gonna say this to you, man. It's not what happened to you. It's what you do next. And if you guys didn't know, if you're listening in right now and you didn't know, last week when I was doing this message, man, I had a splitting migraine. Like I had a horrible migraine. I couldn't focus. I was really trying to fight through it just so I can talk to you. And that was my whole goal. I was like, just get it out there, man. And I was really rattling my brain and trying to get the message directed. Bam, bam. How do I, But at the end of the day, man, I wasn't speaking from my heart as much as I wanted to. A lot of it was me trying to fight my own mind and, trying to get the thoughts to a point where it's like, okay, that's clear and concise. Let me keep going. But I wasn't confident with it. And last week was something that was near and dear to me because last week is when I was talking about a lot of the things that we're going to cover today, which is being down but not out, fighting back, right? 100%. I watched the movie last week before the show, before my headache kicked in. I was talking to you about Creed, right? And as you guys know, that was Michael B. Jordan in Creed. And Michael B. Jordan in that movie, man, if you really sit down and reflect while you're watching that movie and listen to what they're actually saying, you're going to catch on to some jewels that the team that wrote that movie dropped. And there were some things that were said, man, that really 100% just drew me to tears today. I watched it. So last week I'm watching it to prep mentally for the show. All week I'm trying to get my mind set up on how I wanted to reattack. And the thing was, man, you already talked about this. But no, I didn't. Because like the movie says, man, I needed to turn off my brain and let my heart do the talking. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. This segment, we had some great things happen over the week, and I'm going to share that with you next weekend. But this segment is dedicated to my uncle, Jeff Johnson. So I'm going to send this out to family, but this segment is dedicated to my uncle. Through high school and through leaving to the Air Force, that was my guardian angel, man. And I never really got a chance to tell him thank you because I never thought I'd have to until it was too late, right? So with that and without further ado, man, the movie started off and Rocky says something powerful to the character's name is Adonis Creed. He's a boxer, of course, right? the son of Apollo, created. And he said, yo, there's 3 steps to get in the ring. It's just 3. It's that easy. It's 3 steps to walk into that ring. But before you walk in there, you got to think, what are you walking in there and what are you fighting for? And the way he said it was, are you fighting for others? Or are you fighting for yourself? You fighting for everybody else? Or are you fighting for you? Are you here to prove something to others? Or are you trying to prove something to yourself? So, of course, before that fight, Adonis was like, I'm proving something to myself. This is for me. This is my fight. Now, this is how the movie started. Bam, he gets in. He fights this guy, wins his keys back from the previous movie. He had got beat up and lost his car, right? So this is a really cool start to the movie. But what is that saying, man? And when you climb through the ring, what are you fighting for? And if you don't remember last week, I plugged in boxing. We had some funny fights happen in real life, but I plugged in boxing to life. Because the one thing that, if you haven't noticed already about life, is life's going to keep punching you. Life's going to keep jabbing you. It's going to keep hitting you. Life's going to keep coming. But the question is, when life hits you, how do you respond? What are you made of? Where are you pulling your strength from? Who are you at the end of the day? Who are you? And there's so much I'm about to cover. It's an amazing. I just broke that movie apart again. Now, I watched it and I was connected with it today. Last time it was kind of like flying through it. I'm doing other things, but today I connected. I was like, bam, let me really feel this one, man. And why this movie? Why? Because there's so many storylines in there. Rocco told the guy, he said, hey, you're going in here, right? He wanted to fight the son of the man who killed his father in a fight. The son of the guy. And it was just, he wanted a storyline. He wanted something to feel. He wasn't connected to what he was doing. Think about this, man. A lot of people, when I've heard them say this at work, I'm not really feeling my job. I'm not really connected. I need something more. I need something to do. I don't feel like I have my hands where I want them to be. I'm not comfortable. So that was what he was searching for. This fighter, Adonis, he's fighting through the bout, right? And he gets through it and he's not fulfilled. And a lot of us, we're fighting through life and we're achieving things, but we're still not fulfilled. We kind of lose track and lose focus on what we're actually trying to fight for and what we wanted out of life, right? So that's what's happened to this guy. He's disconnected to his world. He doesn't really have a storyline to hold on to. He's not motivated. He has nothing that's driving him. He doesn't really realize what he's fighting for. So he keeps going, man. And what happens during this fight with Drago, which is the name of the guy he's fighting, Victor Drago, he has to go in and fight this guy. Now, in between this time, and this is where my story connects to his, you hear people tell you, don't do that. It's not a good idea. I don't know, bro. You know better than that. But he jumps in the ring anyway. Just like we jump into situations, we jump into life without a plan, without knowing what's going to happen next. Sometimes it's cool to take a leap of faith, but sometimes you know it's not the right move, but you're moved emotionally and mentally by something else, right? It's not listening to the signs. You're not listening to the cues, so you jump in. And what happened with him, he got mollywopped. I mean, my man got beat down. Life tore him up in the form of Victor Drago. He got beat up, right? So he takes this fight. Right before this fight, he finds out his girlfriend's pregnant. Of course, her hearing is leaving, and she's concerned that the baby's going to have hearing problems, which is already another, life, something else thrown at him, right? He goes, Rocky's not in his corner because Rocky didn't want to take the fight. So how does that feel? Like, you're going through and you feel alone, right? Because even though there may be someone standing there, your story is moving in a way that you don't notice the people who've always been there, the people who've always been standing and keep helping you stay on your feet. And again, guys, I'm not using my brain on this. I'm speaking to you from my heart. So for the folks in my life that I didn't call or didn't get a chance to say thank you in the most recent times, I want to say that right now, and thank you, because I know we don't go through things alone. We think we do. We think we handled it. We championed it. It was us. No, there were role players in there that helped you stay on your feet. So to those role players in my life, right? My parents, when I got started from the jump, my mom, single mom doing her thing. My dad, every once in a while, call him up. Hey, just some words, right? Usually because my mom upset me or did something crazy. Then my brother, always, my baby brother. Hey, man, 7 years apart. We were not, that great and close because I was in a whole different world. But now, at our age, that's my best friend. If I go a week without talking to this dude, I'm miserable, right? And then you got the folks who, once I stepped out there into this ring, right? So think about this. The story Creed, and this is why I connected so deeply to it. The story Creed, thinking before when he was getting in fights at school and trying to find himself and not knowing why he was angry and not knowing what drove him or what he didn't really have anything to chase, nothing that he was connected with other than fighting for his life, right? Then when he got out there and got into the ring, he had coaches. He had Rocky. He had those folks in his corner. So when I was coming through, that was my Uncle Jeff trying to help me channel and help me get out of the town, which I will not name, and help me grow and succeed into something else. Man, I would do a lot of things to make him proud, right? And my mom proud. I didn't care about anybody else. It was really make my uncle and my mom proud. And so once that was achieved and it was time for me to step out, I got out there. I got into the ring of life. And I had these coaches. My uncle passed away. I had these coaches. I had Mr. Aronsands, Huberto Aronsands, right? This man, from the moment I got into a role where he knew it was going to be challenging and I got through a whole lot of craziness, he was there to be that voice of reason. I don't know, WC. I don't know if you should do that. What about this? And he would help me level out and think clearly and focus in. And he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, right? So you're talking about Rocky being in the Adonis's corner. This was a guy who walked me through like a lot of stuff that I would have never been able to walk through by myself. He was that coach in the corner. Hey, keep your guard up. Hey, swing left. Hit him with a hook. Hey, come back. Get some water. That was Mr. A. Like when I needed someone the most and I didn't even realize that he was right there. I was just moving. I always knew where I could go. So think about in life who you have, who's that coach, who's that person that's always been there. You may not have even appreciated it. You might have taken them for granted. Who's there, right? So when you step in the ring, you're stepping in by yourself. But it's a lonely place. That's life when it punches you in the mouth and things are happening, situations. But you've had coaches. You have folks that you can channel and reach out to. And if it's someone that's not close to you, there's agencies. There's people who do that for professionally. There's folks you can still dial into and say, hey, walk me through this, right? You're not alone. So then he's in the ring. He gets knocked out. Bam. And I did this for Chance last week. My dude, my guy, Chance, if you're listening, man, I was doing this off the cuff and I'm going to do it again. You get knocked down and you hit the mat and you're like, wait a minute. Life just is, I'm not out, man. I'm down, but I'm not out. Wait a minute. 1. And you hear the ref. He's saying that number. 1. I don't like this. I don't like it down here. So you start fighting, right? You try to find something to pull from. 2. I got to get up. You put your hand on the rope. You're reaching for whatever you can. 3. You realize, hey, I've been training for this my whole life. I got more in me. 4. I see the opponent. I'm stronger than this. I'm better than this. This is not going to. 5. I got to do this. I know I can. 6. I see what I need to do. Let me take a second. 7. Let me take a breather. Let me get 8. I'm almost up. 9. One more step. 10. I'm back in the fight. Let me try this again. The cool thing about life is, even though we only get one of them, when we go through challenges, we go through experiences, we go through situations, and we make it through, that's another opportunity on the other end. That's another opportunity to do things differently. So if you're in a fight for your life right now, you're in a fight for whatever you're going through, know that, hey, man, you may be down, but you're not out. There's still more in you. There's still something that drove you to get to this point, something that made you strong enough to be where you're at now. Find it, channel it, use it, get back up. So I say all that because that's how the movie started, right? He gets knocked out, bam. And he was on the mat and he got up and then he got knocked out again. Life came and it's in the ring in the form of Drago. Life came and knocked this kid out again. So life punched him in the mouth, knocked him on the mat. He was done for that round, for that fight. He didn't fight. He didn't win that battle. And see, that's the thing. We think we're supposed to win every battle. And I'll tell you more when I get back after this break. .6 FM, Positive Vibes with Winsome. Hey guys, thank you for coming back. We're talking about the movie Creed, man. I told you I wanted to reattack, and I told Chance last week when I came on here, had a horrible migraine. I told one of my buddies this, and I said I got to reattack it, man, because there's so much that I missed, and that's a funny thing about life, right? Sometimes you do get an opportunity to reattack something that you may have failed the first time, something that you may have wanted to do better the first time. Sometimes the opportunity presents itself, and sometimes you got to take it, right? So, Adonis Creed gets knocked out. Bam. He's done. He loses the match. He loses. He fails. What happens next? He fails. And a lot of us do exactly, and this is what made this movie so powerful. And this is what made this moment, for me, watching it tear up, man, is he failed. So then, not only did he beat himself up, he isolated himself away from everybody. The things that he cared about the most or was most passionate about didn't feel the same. He was disconnected from his wife and his family. He was just an empty shell. This dude is the world champion. He's a champion. He's a great athlete, but he was still empty because he failed. And so many of us fall. We fail. We fall off that horse, and we don't know what to do next. So what did he do? His wife has the baby, right? He's feeling something again. He's in pain. You know, he's healing up from the wounds of what just happened. Just like we got to go through the pain of whatever we're dealing with. We have similar pains in our life, but nothing like what this man experienced, right? So when he finishes of the healing process of his fight, the battle that he went through, as he's going through, there's little reminders, right, that trigger him. Like the guy that beat him up, challenging him again. That's that whatever you failed coming at you and reminding you, hey, you failed this, remember? I felt that before. I know that pain. And then he finds out that after the baby is born, the baby is death. So one of his biggest fears in life, that his child is going to pick up hereditary what his wife had, it happens. And so you see, they're in tears. I was like, oh man, this is horrible, right? And so now he's down. I mean, everything in life, he's failed at what he loves to do. He's disconnected. His baby can't hear. His wife is losing her hearing. His dude that was always in his corner is gone, right? All of this, I connected to every piece of it. Man. So what does he do next? His family connects. They reach out to Rocky and say, hey, you need to come back. Rocky comes and says, hey, man, you got to be here. You got to be strong. This is in between, right before you had the baby, Rocky. You got to be strong. This is how you be a pops. This is how you do it. So he had to find someone. And it's okay. It's okay to reach out to someone or to allow someone to be there for you, because, you know, our ego will allow us to think that we can do everything by ourselves. And again, if I ain't said this before, if you guys weren't listening, I'm trying to use my heart here. I'm not going to the books and using a bunch of notes and driving. No, this is from the heart. Don't let your ego get in the way of help. Don't let your mind talk you out of doing something that you need to fix you. Do whatever it takes to be the best version of you. If you're hurting, get help. If you're confused, seek help. If you need direction or redirection, get help. Reach out for the ones you trust, right? So it was amazing, man. Rocky said, one thing in there. He said, hey, kid. He said, if you want to change, and I'm going to read this verbatim. If you want to change things in a big way, then you need to make big changes. So I'm going to say that again. If you want to change things in a big way, then you need to make big changes. So his daughter, he has to take care of his daughter. He goes back to hitting the bag just because he was frustrated. He felt something. If you want to change things in a big way, then you need to make big changes. He had to. You can't come at and attack life the same way you did before. You got to reattack it differently. You got to come at it differently. You got to come at it at a different angle. You got to be strong. You got to build those muscles up that you've never had to flex before. You got to go out there and you got to channel something. You got to find something. If you didn't realize that you were stronger, then you got to get stronger and feel it and know it. So this is all prep before the fight. So they take this guy out. He's comfortable, right? Fighting in Philly in the gym that he knows, in Cali in the gym that he knows. But Rocky was like, nah, we going out to the desert. So they take this kid out to the desert and he's fighting. He's like, nah, harder, stronger. Now, while all this is happening, and it sounds funny, I'm connecting this to life, but look, while all this is happening, the other guy has a story too. Life has a story. Life's unfolding. You got corona. You got stuff going on all over the world. You got listen to me. Life has a story developing all around you. This kid had his own story, his own pain. So he was coming for a whole different reason to attack Adonis. So Adonis, he can't focus on that. What did he have to do? And what do you have to do? You have to find out, what are you fighting for? So Adonis starts realizing, hey, man, I got my family, right? It's not just me anymore. I got my kid. I got to fight for her, my mom, my coach, people who care for me, people who love me. Listen to me. If this is you, you got to realize and find out, what are you fighting for? What are you fighting for? And why are you staying in the fight? And you have to stay in it, right? You have to stay. And when they got in the ring, let's go here. So it's him and Victor Drago. And I'm going to call Victor Drago Life, right? Dude's huge, massive, strong, hit you with something when you least expect it, knocks you to your feet, and he kept getting back up. Listen to me. He kept getting up. Life kept hitting him. He kept getting back. And every time he got up stronger, wiser, smarter. And he kept fighting. He was fighting. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to use a quote to you, right, that I like to tell my friends based on my own history and my own story. The fall may be ugly. The fall may be disgustingly ugly. But the climb can be beautiful. The climb back up can be amazing. It can be awe-inspiring. It can be just motivating. So look for it. Fight for it. Fight to keep standing. Keep standing. So he likes beating him up, right? In the form of Victor Drago, knocking him out. Bam. One time, I think it hit him so I felt it, right? You hit a guy, cracked his ribs. Me, watching the screen like, oh, God, I've gone through things in life that just I didn't think I was going to get back up from it. But I found something, and you can find something in you. No matter what it is, there's something in you. There's always a way. Find a way to fight back. Do you hear me? There is something in you. There's something that you can pull from. There is somewhere you can go. There's some way. There's always a way. So if you really want it, if you want to succeed, you want to survive, you want to keep standing, then you fight. So he got up. He kept fighting. Ribs cracked. Arm looked like it was loose, dislocated. He kept fighting. He found a way to stay in the fight. And in this corner, you hear Rocky, right? Saying little things to him. Throwing little nuggets at him to keep his head in the game. So that's what life does. Life is going to keep swinging jabs at you. You have to stay in it and you have to stay close. And those opportunities to grow, those opportunities to do better, those opportunities to go somewhere different in life, forward, upward trajectory. When they come, you jump on it. You jump on it. So the opportunities, like in the ring, he's fighting the guy. He noticed that he letting his guard down. Bam, taking it. As soon as the opportunity comes, you jump. You may not get it. It may not happen in your favor, but you're taking every opportunity that comes. Because at the end of the day, that's really all it's about. It's fighting. Keeping standing, stay standing, still standing, and fighting through. And when you fall, get back up. You're down, but you're not out. You're down, but there's more in you. You're down, but see, the one thing about about life can hit you from any angles. But the funny thing is, you got 4 legs to stand on. Remember, I told you this last week. You got 4 strong legs, but you got to make them strong. And I'm going to tell you and remind you what they are, right? You have your social muscle, the people around you, the folks that care about you, that keep you strong. You got your spiritual muscle. What do you have faith in? What do you look for? When you put your feet on the ground, what do you believe? What drives you through the day? I have faith in myself that I can do this. What is yours? What do you tell yourself? Right? What do you pull from? And then you have your physical. You got to make sure you're physically strong. The things that this man had to do in the desert to survive in the ring, even though it was a movie, think about, this not boxers, but anybody who's trying to survive in life or what they do best. You got to make yourself physically strong. You can't be with the status quo, right? So think about it. You got social, spiritual, physical, and then the most important, you got to be mentally tough. You got 4 legs. I just gave them to you, your foundation. You got to be mentally strong to handle, to be able to know when you're knocked down in life, what it's going to take to get back up. And when you get back up, don't get up the same way. You got to step up on those 2 feet and be a different person. You got to get back on those 2 feet and you got to attack life differently. You got to get up on those 2 feet and be smart enough to know whatever happened that got me on the ground just now, I'm not going to allow that to happen to me again. You got another when you hit that mat. That doesn't mean that your life is over. That just means that whatever caused you to fall cannot hit you the same way again because now you see it coming. They say you can't hit a target you can't see, so you got to know where you want to be in life. You got to know where you're trying to be with your week. Start with your day. They say if you take over your day and you control your day and you command your day, then you can command your life the same way. So that's what you got to do. You got to take control of your day first. You take control of your day, you can start planning your week. You start planning your week, start planning your month. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's all about taking your life back. And remember that when you fall, you can get back up. You've been building yourself up this entire time. Everything in your life has been building up to this moment. You've already survived your worst days. And now it's time for you to think about how to get to where you're really trying to be. If you feel disconnected in life, find it. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? When you get up off the bed in the mornings, or if you're sluggish getting out of the bed, why are you doing it? Can't be just about a paycheck. And if that's it, then you got to look and find your why. Your why is what wakes you up in the morning. Your why is what drives you. You got to find what your why is. And if you haven't done it, then that's why you're frustrated. And that might be why you're constantly hitting a brick wall, because you don't know what you're focused on or aiming at. You got to find your why. So, you're down, but you're not out. I'll be back right after this break. Everybody has a plan until life punches you in the mouth, right? So I'll say that again. Everybody has a plan until life punches you in the mouth. That's not my quote. That's from Mike Tyson. The cool thing about that is it's very true. Everybody has a plan until life punches you in the mouth. So when life punches you, what do? Do you roll over and just say, that hurt? I'm going to stay down here because life punched me in the mouth and I wasn't ready? Everybody has a plan until life punches them in the mouth. In this movie, I was talking about Creed. This man went through everything all in this 3-hour span, or however long, hour and a half movie, 2-hour movie, whatever it was. But everything that he went through was so easily to connect to. Things that you can't control, things that you don't see coming, but you have to keep moving forward. And the crazy thing is, when he took his pause, when he was disconnected from everything, he had to take a step back. He didn't probably realize he was going through those motions, but he paused. Started going in and getting physical therapy from all the injuries he had, right? It's kind of like us getting counseling and therapy if we need to sit down with somebody to heal from the situation. So what was awesome about Creed and the story I'm telling you about when he fell and got back up, and before I move forward, always remember the third segment of our show, 78.6 FM, Yomatan, is dedicated to the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. So this goes out to the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. No matter what, you're down, but you're not out. Sometimes life punches you in the mouth, but how do you respond? Give you an example. So I'm preparing. Craziest thing. I'm preparing for the show with Johnny Kim last week. I'm excited. We've been preparing for months. The first time, technical difficulties at a different building. Now I'm in my building. I'm in my house. I'm in my office, guys. Everything's connected. I got the everybody's online. People logging in. The sound checks went great. The phone rings before we get started. So me wanting to just take this off the table and eliminate this problem completely, I unplugged the phone. What I didn't think in my haste was that the phone is connected to the internet. So everything coming through the computer channels through the phone. I just cut myself completely out of the interview. 5 minutes to start time with NASA and Johnny Kim. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. I can't move anything. And the count, remember I told you about that 10-second count, right? 10, 9. It was the longest 5 minutes of my life. I'm racing up and down the hall. Thankfully, it didn't kick everybody out of the room, just me, the host. So I'll run down, and I want to tell Savannah Nisberg, thank you, because you were a lifesaver. I'll run down to her office, and I'm like, I need to do a CAC. I need to log in with you so I can at least talk. It wouldn't work. No matter what we did, I wasn't able to get into the internet. The internet wouldn't open up a different window so I can still be the moderator. He can't hear me from the mic. I'm down. What am I going to do? I'm realizing that this is a dial-in option. So I said, let me dial in. I dial in. Hey, sound check. Can you hear me? So now I got no moderator access. I can't mute mics for the cell phones calling in. It's a bunch of little background noise from all the mics that nobody listened to me and muted their mics. But it wasn't bad. It was still a cool flow. I don't think you can really tell the difference. About 15 minutes in, I'm finally able to do a CAC. I'm talking to Johnny Kim and NASA from an office phone and trying to navigate and see if anybody's jumping in and trying to control all the technical aspects of the show. And what happens? I finally get in. I got my mic on. Can't make this stuff up. I'm talking to him. We're having still the same steady conversation. I switched over while he was talking so I can try to minimize my, conversation disruption. As we're talking, some genius down the hallway. Doors are closed, guys. I'm using this office. I ain't going to say your name. I'm going to tease you when I get back to work. But they're printing like stacks of paper while the show is going on. So now the printer's going off in the background. So I got to find a way to mute this mic, let Johnny talk, and jump in with the interference. But we still did it. And when I asked everybody, hey, man, it felt ugly going through it, but how did it sound? And the feedback I got, well, it was still smooth, Cully. It was a great conversation. Nobody really noticed. It was really, you can hear the little jet flying over, but it wasn't nothing too distracting from the flow and what he was saying and your questions. I was relieved. But I needed that. I needed to know that I fought I got back up, everything, all the little jabs that was happening, bam, bam, all the hits that we were taking, it was still going to happen, and I was still moving forward. Catching on to that. No matter what comes your way, you still got to find a way. No matter what happens, you still have to find a way to move forward. So a lot of people, they get stuck and they freeze, right? They panic, or they just have anxiety that overwhelms them. You got to let your mind move. You got to trust yourself. There's always a way. I took a breather. When I ran down that last time, I knew I got to figure something out. And I stood in Savannah's office and I took a breather. I said, all right, what can I do? And I looked while she's going to get her little, another opportunity for me to log in. I look at the phone and that's when it clicked. It wasn't magical. It wasn't like I was thinking all that. No, I had to take a breather. And in life, I say all that to say this. We're going to go through things. We're going to experience things. We're going to have things happen to us at the worst possible time because you're not expecting it. So there's no good time for bad things to happen. But the thing is, how do you still keep moving? How do you move forward? How do you still keep yourself in the game? You're down, but you're not out. You see, you have to always remember that even though the worst things are going to be thrown at you, and that's just one example. We talked about Creed and how Adonis got knocked down 3-4 times, kept getting back up. Life is going to knock you down, sometimes hard, where you don't think you have what it takes to get back up. Sometimes you don't think you're not built up. Always remember this. You have to build your house up right now. Just like when you're buying a house, you decide what tools go into this house. You decide what kind of tile you get, what do you want on the counters, what kind of equipment, or what do you call, not equipment, what kind of fridge you want, washer, dryer. You pick it. You build your house. You put the strongest things in that house that you want. What are you doing with this house? How are you protecting this one? How are you protecting this one? How are you preparing yourself? What are you building in to make it stronger? Books, positive affirmation, constant meditation, self-care. What are you doing to prepare yourself for when things happen? Life is going to hit you. Some things, they're going to be hard to come back from. But I guarantee you, there's always a way. Look to some of the most famous, rich, important people in the world. They've gone through some things. Some stories are more famous than others. One of the richest men alive, right? Who you got? Tyler Perry, homeless, never stopped writing. It only took one person to read his play. Do you hear what I'm telling you right now? You're down, but you're not out. So for the Air Force Wounded Warrior, this is our third segment, Wellness and Resiliency Team. Thank you for logging in. For the folks who were able to hear our conversation with Johnny Kim. I'm glad it worked out for everybody. Thanks for the positive feedback for the folks who came back and were excited about it. Every week, the third segment will be dedicated to you. Starting next week, the first and second segment, we're going to be going into some real motivation, some kicks. So I'm going to start off with some music. I'm going to speak to the subject, and then we're going to go ahead and the second segment, we're going to have a conversation that's talking about whatever our subject is. So you're going to hear a song, right? But it's not like the little song that you hear like music with some word. No, it's going to be a motivational speaker with music to the background, or even a team of speakers. I'm going to surprise you next week and let you know who it is. And then the second segment, we're going to continue on that subject to keep you motivated, right? And shoot, motivate me. And then the third segment is always going to be dedicated to the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. So you see, the three segments are split up for us. So we're going to build our house every week. We're going to make our house stronger. We're going to put whatever we want from the foundation on up to the roof. It's going to be strong. I'm at least going to give you 3 segments worth of tools, equipment to go ahead and equip yourself. Toolkit, right, to get you ready for the next week. And we're going to keep adding to that toolkit every week until I can't no more. And that's what we're going to do. This is 78.6 Positive Vibes at Winsome. Today we talked about you're down, but you're not out. Things are going to happen. Life's going to keep hitting you, jabbing you. You got to keep getting up. You have to fight back. And you can't swing if you're not strong, right? So you got to start building yourself up now. Don't wait until something happens and then you're trying to fight for your life and scramble to figure it out. Start building yourself now. Where are you weak at? Make yourself stronger. You got 4 pillars. I call them 4 legs to stand on. They say pillars. You got 4 legs to stand on, and somebody kicks one out, you still got 3 more. Listen to me. Mental, spiritual, physical, and social. Mentally make yourself stronger. Right now, test yourself. Believe in yourself. Stop doubting yourself. Put yourself in situations where you're uncomfortable. Right now, if you haven't done it before, do it. Because if you don't, when those uncomfortable situations happen, you're going to be, right? Physical. Build yourself up. Don't wait for 1 January to start a New Year's resolution. Start right now. If you haven't started all year in 2020, you had a lot of excuses. Gym closed. I can't work out. Dude, there's people who have gyms in their bedroom. Just enough to keep themselves tight. And they're doing body weight exercises. Get up. Don't stay down. Get up. Physically, do something better, different. Make yourself stronger. Your family needs you to be around as long as you can. Your friends need you. The real friends, not that fake circle. I'm talking about the people who really care about you. They need you to be around as long as you can. Spiritually, what do you have faith in? What drives you? What pulls you? What do you pull from? Hey, I know I can do this. Because what is it that drives you? What do you have faith in? Do you have faith in yourself that you can achieve whatever you put your mind to? Do you have faith in your team? Do you have faith in your circle? Do you have faith that tomorrow is coming? Well, you got to fight through today first. And have faith that you can get up and do that, that every day you're strong enough to handle it, that you're good enough, you're smart enough, you're wise enough. Now, last but not least, what we say, mental, physical, spiritual, right? Your circle, social. People in your life are either going to grow you or they're going to drain you. Choose wisely. Listen to me. You got to know who you surround yourself with and what they're bringing to the table. And if they're not helping you move forward, then they're holding you back. The people who need to be in your circle are always going to be the ones that are always talking about movement, not standing still. Not 8 hours on a video game. No, movement. How to be better than yesterday. Those are the people you want in your circle who are always fighting for you. And you know, in turn, you'll fight for them because you're all trying to move forward. Hey, you are loved. If I haven't told you in a week, you are loved. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And I tell you, everyone who I gave a shout out to in the first segment, I love you for loving me. For the folks who believe in me and help me believe in myself. Because I haven't got here or done this just because I believed in me. I had people pushing me along the way. And thank you. I love you guys. Learn right now to take those 4 pillars, those 4 legs that you have, and love yourself. All of them. Do that. We're going to talk some more next week. You're loved. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Positive vibes with Winsome. Talk to you next week.